So today's talk is called Jumping Jehoshaphat. There's really no jumping about it. Just an expression I used to hear a lot as a kid. But it is about Jehoshaphat in the First Kings. Specifically, we're going to take from chapter 22 of First Kings, for verses 1 through 4. Most of you are familiar, I'm sure. That's comedy. So, Jehoshaphat means good judgment. That's what metaphysically he means. And he consulted kings and things. And I'm going to read a little something to you. Maybe a lot of something. I printed out about Jehoshaphat here. And it says, the development and consciousness of the divine idea of judgment. It gives forth its idea of judgment, our I am, which is incorporated in man's consciousness and called Jehoshaphat. Communication with Jehovah is established when man, by dwelling in thought upon divine ideas, harmonizes his thought realm with divine mind. Now, I think we can all discern the difference between a divine idea and a not so divine idea.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, I'm giving us all credit here. We know the difference. We don't always act on it, but we know the difference. And so if we take it for granted, I do know the difference. So I don't have to be mad at myself for not knowing. I don't have to, if I choose, you know, the less divine whatever path today, I can choose again another day. And I will just live in the results of choosing a more difficult path. And that's all it is. I don't have to hate myself or somebody else. Nobody made me choose a more difficult path of thinking. Nobody forced me to do that. Often I felt I didn't know better. Often I thought I have to choose this one because I do. Because it's the one I'm afraid not to choose. But I knew it wasn't the divine path. I knew even as a little boy, I knew it was not the light way. I knew. Nobody really had to teach me a lot of that stuff. I knew not to steal. I knew not to lie. I knew that was not going to make life easier. But something in my head said, it'll make it easier if you do this, Shawn. And then, I don't know about your experience with that. When you steal and you lie, you have a secret. Secrets never make life easier. See, the secret path never makes life easier, and it does not make friends. Because now, I'm coming to you hoping you can't see my lie. Whatever that lie is. And assuming you can't see it. But you see something. And so there's a wall between us. Now we are separated in experience. Not in truth, but in experience. We are separated now because I'm a liar. I don't know if you're a liar or not. But if I know that I'm a liar, and I have not cleared up and cleansed my behavioral stuff past, then I'm always coming to every relationship with a veil. Just say it's a veil. And that's why in the 12 steps they call it your sickness, your secrets. And so to look at that and say, okay, man, is it worth it to me? And for many of us, it's worth it. The sickness of secrets is worth it rather than exposing ourselves and risking everyone hating us or shunning us or pushing us away because of who we are. And then there's those other people that do all sorts of atrocious behaviors and splay them all for everyone to see. That's no better. That's not, oh, I'm a terrible person, I lied. Well, okay, pull the dick. Just quit doing the stuff, okay? Just quit doing the stuff so you don't have to bring in all of your stuff to every relationship. We know the difference. And if we would pause for a moment to use our good judgment. we would say, oh, I don't have to do that for fear of not having enough, for fear of not being good enough. I really don't have to act on that behavior. It's not the God identity I wish to claim. It's not what I want to know as my truth, as it were. What I want to know as my truth is truth. Does that make sense? Anybody confused anywhere in that? What I want to know as my truth is truth. Truth with a capital T. That truth has no opposite. And sometimes we think we have to tell lies, and sometimes we think we have to steal, and sometimes we think we have to for fear that our good will be taken away from us. It was already taken away. It was already given away. If I think I have to lie or steal to get my good, clearly I don't have the good. Never did. At least not in my mind. When I cleaned up a lot of my past, well, a lot of the path back there, I began to see the good that I had. And what was probably the most painful and the most reason for celebration is to realize, you mean to tell me I've had good all along that I didn't know I had, and I had been ignoring it? It's like, man, and there are some people who can't get past that, and they just go back to the old way of thinking. And there's some others who really celebrate down the street. Well, I may have ignored it before, but I'm not going to ignore it now. Here's my good, how can I share it? Here's my good, how can I share it? And here I am good, how can I share it? And then you run into somebody who says, I don't want your good. Your good's lousy. I don't want that God stuff. I don't want that. Stop being so happy all the time. You know, stop that. I don't like to be around happy people. Well, I need to get on a different street rather than trying to please the person who doesn't want to be with happy people. And then there are days I do not wish to be happy. And somebody says, why can't you be happier? You know, it's an odd dichotomy. So, says in Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, and I just printed this part out, divine judgment can be established in every function of our organism by our commanding that the various thought centers, or cities, that's why every city in the Bible is explained metaphysically, that the various thought centers, cities, shall have a perpetual presiding thought of good judgment. This is the way to set garrisons in the land. That comes from 2 Chronicles. False judgment thoughts often infest the various centers through which the bodily functions are carried on. You will find that your stomach center has many arbitrary ideas as to what you should put into it. It may refuse to digest certain things that are good for your general health, and may cheerfully work on other things that are detrimental. Cotton candy, what have you. No two people agree on what they can digest. Yet there should be and is a divine law of harmony in this respect, as there is in all others. The kingdom must be established in good judgment. That having been done, the whole system represented by Judah will contribute to upbuilding in righteousness and truth, and man will have riches and honor in abundance. Okay, now, first things first, and I didn't think to print out the prayer, and if somebody thinks of it, maybe we'll think to put it into the newsletter this week, or you can write to me and ask for it. Carlos Anderson gave us a wonderful blessing of food at a retreat. An amazing blessing. And it puts you in charge of your food instead of you at the mercy of what you're about to eat.
I like that.
And it's a simple series of affirmations. And somebody this week, please remind me. Hi, Gloria. And if Gloria and I forget somebody else, please write to us. And we will put it out. We will put it in the newsletter. If you need it sooner, email me in the office, one of us, and we'll get it to you. But to command from your food, first things first. rather than sit and look at a plate of guilt. Command the nutrition from everything you eat. Command, begin to insist on the life experience you want. Use your good judgment, not your guilt, to feed your mind, to feed your body, to feed your relationships. So I'm going to read from the Bible. It's short. And it's from 1 Kings 22, 1 through 4. And it says, "For 3 years Syria and Israel continued without war. But in the 3rd year, Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said to his servants, 'Do you know that Ramoth Gilead belongs to us, and we keep quiet and do not take it out of the hand of the king of Syria?' And he said to Jehoshaphat, 'Will you go with me to battle at Ramoth Gilead?' And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, 'I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses.' And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, 'Inquire first for the word of the Lord.'" Do you hear that? Inquire first before you take this action. Pray first. And it's not, "Oh, please, God, tell me what to do." Those prayers are not 100% effective, as I think most of us have proven. So, I'll read a couple of more metaphysical definitions to you. It says here, Israel, contending for God, striving for God, who prevails with God. And then in Genesis, back in Jacob was renamed Israel. "For thou hast striven with God and with men and hast prevailed." And he blessed them there. The significance of changing of Jacob's name to Israel is this: the mind controls the body through the nerves. And a great nerve, the sciatic, runs down the leg through the hollow of the thigh. The will acts directly through this nerve, and when the individual, through his mentality or understanding, Jacob, exercises his I am power upon the natural man in an attempt to make unity between spirit and the divine natural, there is a letting go of the human will. Where if you'll recall back in Genesis, it said Jacob's thigh is out of joint. A great light of understanding breaks in the struggling soul when it discovers that there is a divine natural body, and it clings to that inner life and strength, and eventually brings it to the surface in perpetual vigor. This is the significance of the blessing and the new name Israel, one who has power with God and man, spiritual and natural. Now, Ramoth Gilead. It says, we now own Ramoth Gilead, and they still have it. Those other people, what's going on? Why don't we take it? Well, let me tell you what it means spiritually. And I just love this. This is what really made me want to do this talk. Ramoth Gilead signifies a very high place in consciousness. We own a high place in consciousness, but somebody else has hold of it. Why aren't we taking it back? It says that place or phase of spiritual consciousness in us wherein spirit unceasingly discerns and witnesses to the truth, and to our thoughts and acts, that adjustment may be made throughout mind and body. Now Syria, and we're not going into current politics here, we're going to use the metaphysical terms that Charles Fillmore laid down many years ago here. And metaphysically, Syria means the intellect, the intellectual pride. They have no understanding of the real. And so what they're saying here is my high place in consciousness, I have placed over in the intellect. Well, the intellect doesn't know what to do with spirit. Not that the intellect is bad, but it doesn't know. But it's over in the intellect. And why haven't I taken it? Why haven't I taken it back? So I'm going into, and and so he's the king of Israel that is striven for God, is asking Jehoshaphat, good judgment. Will you go with me to take back the high place of spiritual consciousness? Will you go with me? So within this organism, I'm asking myself and all my team to go with me to take my spiritual consciousness back, to take my light back, to take my awareness of truth back, my Christ consciousness back, so that I may use it for how it may be used for the highest good. So, look at your life. Look at all the compartments and all the drawers and everything, and see where you have hidden your highest spiritual consciousness, for where it's not doing any good right now. For where the highest consciousness is sitting in an old drawer filled with old stuff that you're not using, but it's there. And call upon good judgment within you, discernment, you can use it, and discern, oh, I don't have to be afraid to open that drawer and take it out. There's nothing in that drawer keeping me from doing it except fear of what's in that drawer, fear of what's under that dresser, fear of what's in that attic, fear of what's in the basement, fear of what's going to pop out at you if you go to your highest spiritual place, if you go to what you know to be true. I have been afraid at times to go to my highest spiritual place. Anybody? To what I know to be true. Because I'm afraid I'm going to lose something in the physical. I'm afraid somebody's going to take away my money. I'm afraid somebody's going to take away my house. They're going to take away my relationship. They're going to take away my cats. They're going to take away my car. They're going to take away my friends. They're going to take away my self-esteem. That's made up, by the way. They're going to take away my body. They're going to take away my intellect. They're going to take away all my prizes that I take so much pride in presenting. They're going to take all that stuff that I take so much pride in presenting to protect. They're going to take away all my protection. If I'm afraid of them taking away my protection, what it tells me is I think I'm in danger. As God is for me, what could be against me? As God is for me, what could be against me? So, if my protection is taken away and I'm here, vulnerable. Now, many times my protection has been taken away and I found out I was stronger than ever before. Mm-hmm. And still I will make up a new story. Yeah, but if they took this away, if they saw this, if they thought this about me, if they did this. Last night somebody said to me, you really changed after you went away on the silent retreat, Shawn. You haven't been the same person since then. And I thought, haven't I? I didn't notice. I knew some other things I had shifted over later, but except that I retreated after the Vipassana. And so I wasn't as chatty, and I wasn't as outgoing, and I wasn't making as many phone calls, and I went within, and I've been doing healing work ever since. And so it's like, oh. And I started, oh no, I've hurt you, I've offended you, I've done. I was like, no. I didn't do anything to this person except not wish them happy birthday because I didn't notice it was their birthday. I did, and it was important to them, but it wasn't important to me, so I didn't do it. And things like that. And so, to look at, well, where's the discernment here? Where's the right discernment? Have I done something wrong? Somebody the other night was talking to me about step work and said, well, I've hurt this person. I said, how? Well, they said I did. How did you hurt them? Well, they said by not coming to visit them, I hurt them. I said, but did you hurt them? Well, she said she was hurt. I said, but who hurt her, you or her? We have to discern. If you deliberately set out to abandon somebody, well, then maybe you did. But if you just didn't want to be with them, and you told them so, I don't want to be there right now, I'm busy. I really don't want to visit with you right now. Then did you hurt somebody? To be honest, to be forthright. Is that hurtful? Or is that embarrassing and uncomfortable? But does it damage someone? Does it damage me? And I think we have to really come to terms with what is the God self I wish to know today? And would I be brave enough? Would I consider rising up, flying up, kind of singing, and to be who I am, to be what I am, to know the difference, to know the difference, to know the difference between what I really want to experience and what I really don't. I don't think we have to wait till we're old to experience this God stuff. You know, I want to have fun, and then when I get old, I'll get to God. Because if you have enough fun, you're not going to get old. And as I said to a few friends, most of us are a little old now to be young and fabulous. A little long in the tooth, many of us, to be young and fabulous at this point. And so, you walked up these steps today because you wanted to know God better. By wanting to know God better, you wanted to know you better. I came to work today because I wanted to know God better. Because when I know God better, I know Shawn better. I encourage us all to call upon our good judgment, to pause, call upon good judgment, to take us to claim the good that we've been hiding from ourselves. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening.